We begin with the increasing tension between US and Russia as President Barack Obama has ordered expulsion of 35 Russian diplomats. Those diplomats and their families have been given 72 hours to leave the United States of America. The Obama administration also announced sanctions on Russian intelligence officials. Washington believes that they have been involved in hacking incidents. Two Russian compounds for diplomats in New York and Maryland are also to be closed. Moscow denies the hacking allegations. The Russian Foreign Ministry said the sanctions are counterproductive and Russia will take adequate reprisals. Daniel Ranches has more.
Well, officials say they want to impose public and covert penalties on alleged Russian hacking to influence the US elections. But it goes well beyond that. President Obama's authorized sanctions on Russia's GRU intelligence directorate, you see it there, and 4 of its officers, the FSB security agency, and 3 Russian tech firms accused of assisting and training the hackers. Separately, the US Treasury is designating for sanctions 2 other Russians here, wanted by the FBI over the alleged theft of over $100 million, plus financial information from US businesses, universities and government agencies. US intelligence agencies are also publishing technical information which says the US thinks will help others identify, detect and disrupt malicious cyber activities, such as what they believe Russians are planning to influence European elections next year. And the US is also concerned about alleged hacking of critical infrastructure here in the United States. We've also learned that 35 Russian diplomats based at the embassy in Washington and the consulate in San Francisco are being expelled. And in another dramatic move, the US is denying Russians access to 2 of the country's compounds in the state of Maryland, which you see here, and in New York, which it says are being used for Russian recreation, but also intelligence activities. They say that's in retaliation for 2 years of alleged harassment of US diplomats in Russia by security officers and police. Well, the Kremlin says the President Putin will determine an adequate response and mirror actions taken today, including the US sanctions, and make Washington officials feel uncomfortable. Countermeasures are expected to be announced on Friday by the Kremlin, but already a US official speaking to CNN has said that Russian authorities have ordered the closure of the Anglo-American School of Moscow. That educates children of English-speaking foreigners, including, of course, US diplomats, and is closing a US embassy vacation house near Moscow. So these reports at the moment are unverified. But what we know is that Donald Trump has indicated he'll want to have a more positive relationship with Putin, have a reset, and could unwind some of these measures as part of a grand bargain with Moscow. But for now, he's releasing a sort of holding statement saying it's time for our country to move on to bigger and better things. Nevertheless, in the interests of our country and its great people, I will meet with the leaders of the intelligence community next week in order to be updated on the facts of this situation. The issue clearly puts him in an uncomfortable position from day one. Should he unravel the sanctions and please Putin, he'll risk essentially going against the unanimous findings of his own intelligence agencies.